Alright, welcome back everyone, or welcome if this is your first time on this channel. So, this is the teacher, and today I'm going to be trying something a little bit different, a little bit new, at least different than what I've done before. And this is inspired by the way that I actually teach most of my English courses, because the actual motto of Give Me Some English is authentic English for the real world. And one of the things that I've noticed in my many years of teaching English is that a lot of times the textbooks and the teaching materials that are provided for students does not really contain very authentic English. And the teachers and the textbooks keep presenting information which is a lot of times words and phrases and expressions that nobody ever uses, or they use them very, very rarely. Or sometimes they're just wrong. So, in an attempt to help fix this problem, I'm going to be going through and critiquing some of the material that I see available on other videos and in other lessons. So, today we're going to start with a vocabulary lesson about different styles of chairs. This is from ESL.com, or I guess that's TESL.com. This is another YouTube video channel, and this is not supposed to be any sort of critique on them so much as it is a lesson to help you understand what is authentic English and what is maybe proper English, but English which is not used very much. So let's get started. This is vocabulary terms for chairs. Okay, we got three different types of sleeper sofa, and park bench. Okay, well, that's true. That's a park bench. This is a sofa. Yes, sure. That's also a sofa. But this is not necessarily a sleeper sofa. Because a person could sleep on this one, and a lot of people, homeless people, they sleep on a park bench. That doesn't make it a sleeper park bench. And the only time that we use the term sleeper sofa is if the sofa actually pulls out into a bed. That is a sleeper sofa. There is nothing with this picture that indicates that this is a sleeper sofa. It's just a sofa. It's just a sofa. They're just two different types of sofas. Okay, let's continue. Okay, we have two different chairs. Three different chairs. Armchair. Yep, that's right. Cantilever chair. Well, okay. That probably is true. But most people would just call this a chair. They wouldn't refer to it as a cantilever chair. Honey, can you bring in an extra cantilever chair? We have a guest coming to dinner tonight. No, this might be the proper term for this type of chair, the style, where the legs go back like that. So this is the style of the chair, but nobody ever says that. They just say chair. That's all, chair. Wing chair. Okay, that's true, but what makes this a wing chair and this one an armchair? They both have arms. But why is this one a wing chair? Who knows? Most people would just refer to these both as armchairs. That's all. They call them armchairs because they have a place to put your arms. They have an armrest, so they're armchairs. This might be the style, might be a wing chair, but the only people that would use that term are people that work in a furniture store and people who are interior decorators. Everybody else would just refer to this one also as an armchair. Okay, so let's see what else we got here. Oh, another chair. Desk chair. That's true. Sure. Obviously, this is a desk. Well, it's obvious when you see that this is a lesson about chairs. This is a desk chair. It's got the wings, excuse me. It's got the wheels on the bottom. It's got arms as well. This is an arm, but it's not an armchair so much as this is the type of chair that specifically a person would sit at a desk. They would sit on at a desk, and that's why we call it a desk chair. That's true. Good. Nope. Never heard that term before in my life. And I've been around long enough, and I've been involved in plenty of different industries, except for maybe interior decorator. But nobody refers to that as an operator chair except for the company that produces the chair. They might say, this is an operator chair and that's a desk chair. Well, guess what? They're both desk chairs. And obviously this is a view from the back because we have the pole going down. It's almost the same style as this. They're both desk chairs. Perhaps some companies refer to this style as an operator chair because the back is usually lower, and this one goes up to the shoulders. This one might only go to the middle of the back, but they're both desk chairs. That's all. They're desk chairs. Different styles. Oh, look at that. Now, what makes this an executive chair? It's got arms, but so do these. Those have arms. This one, it might be a little bit more fancy. Ooh, it's got bigger wheels and it's got a nicer, solid base. So maybe the person who is just a coder in an IT company, maybe they might have a desk chair like this, or they have just a desk chair like this, but the boss has a more expensive chair because they can get it into their budget, and it has metal arms. So why is it an executive chair? Just because it's more expensive. But guess what? It's still a desk chair. That's all. It's just another form of a desk chair. Maybe the people that produce the chair, the company, they would call it an executive chair. Everyone else in the world would just call it a desk chair. It's just that this one is nicer than this one and this one. That's all. Okay, sure. Garden chair. Yeah, that's true. It could be, garden chair. We don't really know from this picture what it's made out of, but we can assume that this part is made out of metal. This part might be made out of wood. It could be some sort of a wicker material, but we don't know yet. But sure, it looks like a garden chair. However, in American English, the word garden is referring to the place that you grow flowers or food. So we wouldn't put a chair in the garden. We put a chair in the yard. Now we wouldn't call it a yard chair. I'll get to that in just a second. Okay, that's true. This particular style, this term has been used enough that most people do refer to this as a director's chair, because it's got the woven. Not the woven, excuse me. Well, yeah, it's like a woven material, like canvas on the back, and it folds up and it's made out of wood. This is such a common style that it is referred to it as a director's chair. However, usually the director's chair is much taller than this, and it has a footrest on the back, right about here, so that he can sit up higher than everybody else. But yeah, that's correct. Folding chair. Sure, that's one style of folding chair, but guess what? This one folds as well. Also, this is the style of a folding chair that looks like it would be made out of wood. There are plenty of folding chairs that are made out of metal, and they look a little bit different than that. But yeah, that's true. That's a folding chair. Ladder back chair. Okay, that's true. Once again, this is a particular style, but it's just a chair. Most people in the universe that speak English would not refer to this as the ladder back chair. It's kind of like the cantilever chair from before. They wouldn't say, honey, please bring in another ladder back chair. We have a guest for dinner. We just say, bring in another chair for dinner, a dinner table. We might call this a dinner chair, or not a dinner chair, excuse me, a dining room chair, because it would be the type of chair that goes at the dining room table. The ladder back chair, that term, that would only be used by people that, once again, work at a furniture store, or the people who write the information for the catalogs where they might be selling this chair, or perhaps an interior decorator. Everybody else would just refer to this as a chair. Stool. That's true. Okay, good. That's a stool. Now, also, everybody should know that a stool is usually much taller than a chair. Like, you can actually lean up against it and almost be standing. A lot of times the actual director's chair the seat is a lot higher, like on a stool. All right, once again, Windsor is just the style. Most people would just call this a chair. It could be a chair for the dining room table. We don't know. This could even be a garden chair, because there are a lot of, if you've ever been to a garden store or one of those places where you buy things for the home and they have furniture for both outside and inside, a lot of times they have plastic chairs that are in this style. We wouldn't use those at the dining room table, and we wouldn't call it a Windsor chair. We'd just call it a picnic chair or something like that. Most people would just call this a chair. If this was made out of wood and it was used inside, it would be used in the same situation as this ladder back chair or the cantilever chair. We would just refer to it as a chair. So this part here is not really what most people would use, just for people that work in a furniture store and interior decorators. Otherwise, it's just a chair. Now, here we go. Sure, these types of seats are sometimes in waiting rooms, like at a hospital, but to me, this looks very much like the types of chairs that, or it's actually a bench. They're not chairs. It doesn't say chair there, it says seat, but there's actually 3 seats. And this, if you've ever been to an airport, I think most people would agree that this is what the seats look like at an airport. And the area that we sit waiting for our plane at the airport, we don't refer to that as a waiting room. We might refer to it as a waiting area. This is just a bench, another form of bench for with 3 separate seats. So most people, at least in American English, we would just refer to this as a bench. An airport bench, probably. You might find them in a bus station. So this waiting room seat, well, the seat is referring to only one of these. These are 3 seats. So this is actually incorrect because this whole thing is not referred to as a seat. That's a seat, that's a seat, and that's a seat. This is a bench. Maybe you could call it a waiting room bench or an airport bench, but it's just a bench. Okay, good. That's true. This might be made out of wood. Obviously, it would be painted blue here. But the place that this would be, as it says outdoor, it would be in a garden using European English, or the yard using American English. A lot of times people might have them on a deck. So why don't we call it a deck chair? I don't know. Now, this particular style, where this back part is actually leaning back very, very much. So like when you sit down, you're kind of lounging in it. That style is very common in America, and so we do refer to that as an Adirondack chair. That's just the style. But this is one example where we do usually refer to it as the style, kind of like with the director's chair, because they are very common. So Adirondack chair is the more common thing. We wouldn't just call it a wooden outdoor chair. We would call it an Adirondack. All right. Wheelchair. Obviously, there's only a very specific type of people that would be using a wheelchair. Hopefully, if you're listening to this, you don't ever have to find yourself in that situation. But yeah, that's a wheelchair. Upholstered has nothing to do with the shape. It has to do with if this area, the part that you're sitting on, has cushioning and some sort of material over it, whether it's made out of cloth material or leather, and it has cushioning, then we call it upholstered. But if the same thing was true with this, we would call it upholstered. Sometimes this might have a hard back, but if the seat is cushioned with maybe leather or cloth over it, then we'd say that it was the seat was upholstered. But we wouldn't call it an upholstered chair. This is a bench style. It's very similar to a sofa, but it's probably smaller. So yeah, this is not a common term. Dining room chair. Okay, that's true, but so is this, and so is this. And the cantilever chair, I can't move the screen because it's, well, as you can see in this one, the little red chair near the end, that cantilever chair, this chair, and that chair are all dining room chairs. They're just different styles. Deck chair. Okay, that's true, but you also notice it's very similar to the director's chair. This is also a deck chair. This is just a different style. However, a lot of people would probably refer to this as a beach chair because it folds up, and it would be the type of chair that they would use when they're sitting at the beach. So we would call this a fold-up beach chair. Someone might call it a deck chair, but they would also call this a deck chair. And with the garden chair, you can see it. Where is it? All right. There it is. Okay, so the pinkish one there. That garden chair, that could also be called a deck chair if it was sitting on someone's deck. So that, and the garden chair are all different types of deck chairs. It really depends on the person who's saying it. It's not a proper term, but this is also what we refer to as a beach chair. Okay, wood chair. First of all, we wouldn't say wood chair, we'd say wooden chair. And that's true, it's a wooden chair, but so is this probably. So is the folding chair. They're all wood. So we have a lot of examples here where the ladder back, the Windsor, the cantilever, the garden, these are all different styles. Adirondack style. This is not a style. This is referring to the material. It's just a chair. Doesn't look like the type of chair that a person might have at their dining room table, so we wouldn't call it a dining room chair. It's just a chair. That's all we would say. Bring in the chair. Which one? The wooden one. Oh, you mean the pink, weird-looking one with the purple nail heads or screws? Yeah, that ugly thing. Okay, it's just a chair. That's all. We would just call it a chair. Okay, throne. Yeah, sure. Maybe. If this was the seat for a king or a queen, then we would call it a throne. But this also, some people have chairs that this has got spots on it because of the weird coloring. But if this was made out of wood and this part is upholstered, like felt upholstered cushion, this would probably also be cushioned, especially if it was a throne. And if it was an actual throne, it would probably have arms on it. But a lot of people have wooden chairs similar to this that they use in their dining room. And so therefore, they would refer to it as a dining room chair. Usually the ones that go along the side of the table are like this, where they don't have arms. And then the two chairs that go at the ends of the tables, they do have arms, but they're all dining room chairs. They don't refer to those as a throne. The only time that we refer to a chair or a seat as a throne is if it's being used by a king or a queen. Student chair. Okay, that is not true. Okay, so maybe this looks similar to the type of a chair that a student in a school would use, although this would be much wider. Otherwise, they'd fall over if they leaned off to the side. But they don't call it a student chair. They just call it a chair. That's all. It's not a student chair. It's just a chair. That's all. Nobody would call it that. So, yeah. Okay, so there you have it. We have a sleeper sofa, which is actually not a sleeper sofa. It's just a sofa. We have another type of a sofa. We have a park bench. Armchair. This one says wing chair. It's also an armchair. Cantilever chair. That's the style. But this, and this are all dining room chairs. Desk chair. This one that says operator's chair. Also a desk chair. Executive chair. Also a desk chair. Barber's chair. That's obviously only going to be in a barber shop or a salon. Garden chair. Well, garden chair, this deck chair, and the Adirondack chair, they can all be referred to as deck chairs. They're just different types of outdoor furniture. That's all. Folding chair, that's only one style of folding chair, and that's actually a very old style. Most folding chairs nowadays are made out of metal. As I said, ladder back chair, Windsor, dining room, throne, cantilever, they're all dining room chairs. That's pretty much the only place you would see one. This is not a waiting room seat. It's just the type of bench that you would see. See, that's a park bench because that's the kind of bench you would see in a park. Some people might have a bench like that in their backyard near their garden. But this is the type of bench you would see in an airport or a bus station or a train station, something like that. Wheelchair, completely different style because this is not the type of style that most people would use. This is a chair for people that actually can't walk or something like that, have difficulties or they're injured. Upholstered bench, well, that's just a different type of a sofa. It's just a smaller one, which is probably designed for a waiting room in a fancy place like a doctor's office. Obviously, you're not supposed to lay down and sleep on it, so it'd probably be shorter. It'd be like this long. But it's just a bench. That's all. As I mentioned, this deck chair is also referred to as a beach chair, and nobody uses the term student chair. It's just a chair that the students sit on, but that's not what this style is. They're all just chairs. And this wooden chair, it's a wood. It says wood chair. It should say wooden chair, but it's just a chair. Okay, so that's it. A lot of unnecessary terms to refer to a lot of the same different things. Desk chair, desk chair, desk chair. Dining room chair, 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 and outdoor chairs, garden chairs, deck chair, beach chair. Most of the time, people just say chair. Bring me that chair. Which one? That one. Okay, you mean the Adirondack or the folding one? The folding one. That's good. So, we don't use these proper terms. Oh, let's go sit on the park bench. No, when we're in the park, we just say, hey, you want to go sit on that bench? Oh yeah, sure, it looks comfortable. If we're in the airport, we wouldn't say, let's go sit down on the waiting room seat. No, we just, because that's the only ones, we would just say, let's go find a seat to sit down on the bench. So a lot of these terms, although they might be proper terms for the different styles and things, most people don't use those terms. So that's that. Let's see if there's anything else that can give us here in this video. Nope, that's it. Okay, good. Well, anyways, useful video if you want to learn about the names of the different styles, but generally speaking, we just refer to them as the different types of chairs like I mentioned. All right, so I hope that was helpful, at least more helpful, and I guess I will be making more of these videos in the future. And also, if you want, since this is from somebody else's YouTube channel, go check them out. They have 1.42 million subscribers, which is about 1.42 million more than I do. But hopefully this video will be helpful for some of my students. All right, this is the teacher signing out. Have an excellent day.